Your carb load is such a key part of your marathon nutrition. It's going to top up your muscle glycogen stores so that you're feeling absolutely full of energy, ready to go, and then are able to execute the type of intensity that you want to. If it's going to be a hotter race, you're going to be burning more carbohydrate. So you're probably just going to be sticking with the same nutrition plan. So making sure that you're fully topped up is going to be absolutely essential, especially if it's hot. Now, all too often I see clients the week before thinking, okay, what am I going to eat the day before? No. Okay, we need to practice your carb load ahead of time. I'm now 2 weeks out of Edinburgh Marathon. It is Saturday. I'm doing my final long run Sunday, tomorrow. So today I'm going to be walking you through what a proper carb load looks like. I'm going to be hitting 8 grams per kilogram body weight. I'm going to be talking through how I'm doing that, why I'm eating specific foods. This is all going to be about how to hit high carb intakes with low fiber. I'll explain why I'm going low fiber along the way, and I'm going to give you some really practical tips of what foods you can build in to help you hit your plan. Hi, I'm James Hudson. I'm a registered sport nutritionist and aspiring sub-3 hour marathon runner. This is episode 6 in the series where I'm documenting my nutrition, so really focusing in on the applied nutrition side. What little tweaks I can do from a sport nutrition approach to make sure that I'm not only physiologically set up for optimal race, but also psychologically. So by having practiced all of these little tips and tricks I'm taking you through in this series ahead of time, I'm going to be on that start line, hopefully, or I should be on that start line thinking I've done everything in my power, everything within my control to set myself up for a sub-3 hour run. This video is all about carbs, so the first thing I need to do is actually go to the bakery. Okay, so it's Saturday evening, I've finished eating for the day, and I want to talk you through exactly what I've had so you can get some ideas on how you can go about getting exactly the right amount of carbohydrate on your carb load. So the research is going to suggest between 8 and 12 grams per kilogram body weight. I always recommend my clients go for the lower end of that because unless you're a highly elite, very well-trained athlete whose muscle glycogen stores are very receptive to carbohydrate, honestly, the higher ends of that are just an extortionate, huge amount of food, and you'll be really struggling to hit that. And then naturally, you're getting limited extra benefit from doing that as well. So just trying to get into an 8 grams per kilogram body weight range is pretty good. There's actually science showing that those who eat 7 and more, compared with under 7, have much better performance in the latter stages of their marathon. They're actually able to run faster, and their speed doesn't die off compared to those who are under 7. So if 8 is like, oh God, just trying to get to at least 7 and then maybe pushing up to 8. What do I actually mean by that? 8 grams per kilogram of body weight. So I'm 78 kilograms, but to make the maths easy, let's round that to 80. So I'm looking for 80 times 8. So I'm looking for about 640 grams of carbohydrate on this day. Now, if you've ever logged any food before, you might be thinking, whoa, that's a lot. And yeah, it is. So how do you go about eating that much and actually feeling like I am now, where I'm thinking, shit, I'm not really that full. Yes, I've eaten 3,600 calories, so I'm in quite a surplus for the day, but I don't feel bloated. I don't feel overly stuffed. If anything, I could eat something else right now. And that's exactly where I want to be in the evening, because actually I had my last meal not too late at night, so I wasn't trying to cram it all in the evening. So I've got plenty of time for this to digest. Then I'll have my breakfast before my long run tomorrow, mimicking timings on race day. So I'm going to open up my MyFitnessPal because I've got the times in there as well. And I tweaked this day because I've done quite a few carb loads before and really doubled down on rice-based meals. And yes, there is a lot of rice in this, but I've actually added in some really nice white bread from the bakery because I just love white bread from the bakery. And I wouldn't ever have it normally buy granary because you want to have as many high fiber carbohydrate options in your normal day-to-day. But a carb load day is a good opportunity for some white refined carbohydrates. So I also got myself a little treat at the bakery. I got myself a iced finger because at the bakery, if you're going for high carb options, now there might be a temptation there to go for the ones which are also high in fat. So ones like, I mean, they do a ridiculous thing called a cronut, but I wouldn't recommend anything deep fried, certainly. But also brownies, very high in fat. Even donuts, a good blend of fat and carbohydrate. But what we're going to be aiming for is low fat on this day. And that is how you end up getting towards the end of the day. You've eaten a huge amount of carbohydrate, but you don't feel overly full. So an iced finger is a good option if that's you. There's a little bit of an emotional connection for me growing up. Used to get an iced bun, and it took me back. It was beautiful. So I had one of those. Actually, let's go from the start. So I started off with my Rice Krispies. Now, fairly average size bowl. I've opened up MyFitnessPal, and hopefully you can see my screen here. So on this day, yes, I managed my 640 calories, and what you can see, 56 grams of fat here. This is a low fat intake, and again, that's why I'm not feeling, oh God, I'm feeling so full. How did I do this? So I'm going to click into my diary. So the first thing I had was my coffee, had that with some milk, and then I had some Rice Krispies. So this is a fantastic thing to be able to build into your diet, to get easy carbohydrates that don't fill you up. So I'd highly recommend those. You can go even sweeter if you want to go with Cocoa Pops or Frosted Flakes, but that's quite intense and you're going to be having quite a lot of sugar on this day. So Rice Krispies seem to work quite well for me. I added in a handful of raisins to that, just to again lift it up. And that's basically 1 gram per kilogram body weight ticked away there. So I've got 7 to go. That breakfast didn't really hit the sides. So then I'm going to show you, move on to my snacks, because then as soon I've gone into town and I've picked up the bakery elements, I've then had my iced bun, and I've had a couple of slices of really nice white bread with some lemon curd. So any sort of sweet topping of choice on white bread. I omitted the butter. So if this was going to be really indulgent, I'll probably slather it in butter, but I didn't have that. So maybe not quite as fun, but again, eating for a specific reason on this day. Then I had some salty, so it was a salt and vinegar rice cakes. Now, having 5 of those as a serving gets you about 35 grams of carbohydrate. So again, you're just chipping away. So that's another 0.5 gram per kilogram body weight just in that snack. 5 of those, and again, they don't really touch the sides. The other benefit of that is they're salty. So because they're salty, bringing those electrolytes, but then when I'm drinking my water throughout the day and I've got these salty snacks coming through, it means that fluid that I'm drinking is more likely to stick. So you don't have to spend loads of money on expensive electrolytes if you're having some salty snacks peppered in throughout the day. I then had my lunch, which was a bacon sandwich. Now, I had someone over coming in to help put up a trellis in the garden, and he actually requested this, and I thought, hey, that can work really neatly in my carb load. So hence the white bread, because if you're having a bacon sandwich, it's just classic. And we've got some, not tomato sauce, we've got some brown sauce. So I just had 2 slices of bacon there, so we're not overdoing it on the fat, not overdoing it on the protein. I'm having a couple of slices of white bread again. So quite a small lunch, but I'm then straight in with the snacks afterwards. One thing I forgot to mention in the morning was I had a sports drink. So I had a huge serving of a sports drink. I had 80 grams of it. Now that brought in 75 grams of carbohydrate, and just nail that. So that's just another 1 gram per kilogram body weight nailed in the morning, so that I'm well over my 4 grams per kilogram body weight. I've still got all my afternoon and evening meals to go. Dinner I planned in was sticky rice. Now I wanted something that I could really easily replicate. So those bags of sticky rice, they're fantastic. They're so easy to, you can take them anywhere and microwave. Don't even have to microwave them. I then had half a tin of tuna and a little drizzle of teriyaki to give it a bit of something. On this day, I also had some sweet corn and peas, and the only reason I did that was because I was feeding some to my daughter. So I also had a little, but on race day -1 before Edinburgh, I won't actually do that. The only other thing to note on here is I had a couple of high carb drinks. So I had a ginger beer, and one, because it's probably my favorite soft drink. I don't normally have a lot of soft drinks because drinking sugar is not one of the healthiest habits to have. However, treating yourself and having a liquid carbohydrate drink of your favorite choosing is probably going to mean you're more likely to have it and then enjoy it. So I had my Jamaican ginger beer, as a way of getting in an extra 15 grams of carbohydrate. But when you drink it, you just don't feel it. So it's just chipping away at that total. A few more snacks of white bread and honey in the mid-afternoon, again, just chipping me towards that total. And other than that, I have absolutely hit my numbers. I am quite looking forward to cleaning my teeth now, but I can do that. And then I'm gonna get myself an early night. Hopefully Aurora sleeps through, and then I'm gonna go and execute my run tomorrow morning. Today I'm practicing with my race nutrition at 90 grams of carbohydrate per hour. I'm gonna flip you around and show you how I'm doing that. So as always, I'm practicing with my liquid carbohydrates. I've got 30 grams coming in there. And then I'm gonna have something on 0 minutes, 20, 40, 60, 120, 140. So I've got 30 grams here, then these two are both 30. So 30, 60, 90, 110, 140, 160, 180. I've also got an extra water bottle. I'm only gonna be carrying 2 on the day, but this is mimicking what I'm gonna be picking up from aid stations. It's gonna be a hot one, so I need to make sure I've got enough fluid, and I'm learning from last week. I'm also changing the caffeine strategy. So I've had a coffee this morning, and then instead of having this before, I'm gonna have this midway through to mimic what I'm gonna try and do on race day. Suffering with some serious self-doubt right now. There's just finished the main 14-mile set there, and those last 4K was just, my pace was slowing, and there's nothing I could do to try and bring it back into the range. And the last kilometre was 10-15 seconds off the pace. I haven't carried on and done the 2-mile back. I've stopped. That's where I'm at now. Just need to pause and reflect. Jeez, it's made me feel quite nervous about Edinburgh. So I've just got back and the cool down was horrid. Just slipped into ultra running mode and was really just trying to keep the heart rate in a normal range, which was tough. But I've had a chance to reflect and pivot from self-doubt, because I've looked at the numbers and the running set was bang on 4:16. So that was holding 3-hour marathon pace. I didn't have my fancy shoes and it was a really hot day. So I'm actually going to take that with a lot of positivity going in. And all I've got to do now is hold that for another hour. The good news is that the hydration plan, fantastic. Felt good, had enough fluid coming on. Fueling plan, had enough carbohydrate, and that's actually why I'm present. I've got lots of energy now, which is good because I've got to look after my child for the rest of the day. And then the final thing was the caffeine strategy. That worked really well as well. So not crazy high at the start, but then being able to pick up and feel good at the end. If you're worrying what all this is, I had an incident with the Velo Forte gel where I squeezed it out a bit too much and it splattered me, but yeah, it's not blood. So the more you practice your race day -1 fueling and your carbohydrate and hydration plan, you'll start to know when it becomes a hydration issue, a fueling issue, or if it's just you're on that level of intensity. And for me today, I was very much on that level. I was flirting with the 170s on my heart rate, and I knew that as soon as I got to 172, 173, I had to back off a little bit. If I'm cruising at 168, 169, I feel okay. So I'm gonna take that going into the marathon. If it's a really hot day, I'm going to run to pace, but also I'm going to be really guided by that heart rate. And when it sneaks up, using a bit of breathing techniques. So really trying to get back into belly breathing and trying to go in through the nose and out through the nose, as that helps bring my heart rate down. In the next video, we're going to be looking at how to manage nutrition on a taper and the final bits of race day strategy. I'll see you then.